VMM 2012's generic command executions might just be VMM's least documented feature. At the same time, it might be VMM 2012's most useful feature when it comes time to automatically provision out fully featured self-services that deliver with the click of a button. I give you the lowdown on how to create your own GCEs in this nifty little MicroNugget that has to do with my recent 70-246 series with CBT Nuggets. Take a look. This corresponds to the command prompt, and we're going to run the reboot command. /Q/C essentially says run this quietly. And shutdown /R says go ahead and reboot the computer. And /T_0 says go ahead and reboot the computer and don't wait for anything. You might be asking, why in the world am I doing that? Well, the RDS roles in this case, when they are installed, if you recall the last time you installed terminal server, what had to happen after terminal server the role was installed? You had to actually reboot the computer. And right now today in VMM with 2012 SP1, there really is no good way to reboot a computer in order to accomplish that. So what we're going to do is force the issue. We're not going to set a script resource package here because we're just simply executing a command on that local computer. We are running it with this run as account. We've set the timeout value to 3600 so that there's plenty of time for that machine to reboot. And then over here in the advanced button, we're going to do a couple other really interesting things. The first of which is we're going to set the restart policy to always restart after the script is finished running. What this will do is ensure that the machine comes back online after the reboot completes, and VMM recognizes that it does and is okay with that, because we want VMM to continue working down the list of GCEs so that it can get to the next one and the next one and the next one to continue all the steps that are required. By default, these failure policies are also set to match for certain output. Okay, if your standard output is a certain value, or if your standard error matches a value, or if your exit code matches a value, well then fail the script. The other thing that I've done here is I've told the restart or the failure policy not to match any of the exit codes, so that if something fails during the process of the deployment, VMM is not going to stop and fail the entire deployment. Now I've done this because a deployment can take about a half an hour. And for you to get 25 minutes through a half an hour and have the last little bit, this last tiny little script cause a problem, well, that just, it really burns when you've got to go and restart things over and have it run for another half an hour. So we set these to do not match just to make things easy. And then up here, we also do a couple of really awesome little things to give us information about what this script is intending to do. Okay, I'm going to assume that you have some notion of how scripting works, whether it be VBScript or PowerShell or whatever your favorite scripting language is. A script will typically have, or even a command line will typically have what's called a standard output and a standard error. So the standard output is anything that the script needs to or is told to output during the course of its execution. Right? If I type in ipconfig, the standard output would be the results of that ipconfig. But if I typed ipconfig and I accidentally, instead of typing ipconfig, I typed piconfig, and there was some error message that occurred. Or if I tried to say ipconfig with some sort of argument that did not correspond with one of the ones that ipconfig actually worked with, I would get not a standard output, but a standard error instead. This comes in handy when I'm troubleshooting these scripts that are working with VMM, because all of these scripts are executing on the virtual machine as it is being deployed. And if any error messages occur, well, they're going to get piped to the command window that is running on that virtual machine, which is nothing that I can ever see. So I have to actually check the boxes here, here, and here, and set a file path for these so that I can see the results of any scripts that I have. If I don't do that, then I've got no visibility into what I'm attempting to do on this machine, and it makes it very difficult, almost impossible, to troubleshoot the problems that are occurring on this computer. So you'll see here that I've got standard out number 1.txt set to this first one. And down here on number 2, I've got standard out number 2.txt. I do the same. Want to learn more? Check out cptnuggets.com.